Hey folks, welcome to another episode of Chief Talk. My name is Stephen Lucky with Gardopia Gardens, and we have the amazing...
Sherry Lim, Chief Learning Officer.
And normally we'd have our third compadre, Dominic Dominguez, but he is celebrating the birthday of his future wife, so he could not be with us here today. That being said, hopefully Sherry and I can keep y'all entertained and give you some updates on what's happening in Gardopia land. So, that being said, Sherry, September. It was a busy month. It was the start of fall. What happened in September?
So we started at a lot of our schools this fall already, and we're beginning to start at our cohorts this month, all of our cohorts this month. And we also started our fall gardens at our schools. So we're getting ready to get those vegetables in the ground, or we already have them in the ground in our schools, but get them in the ground and get growing with our students.
And planting, it's been a little off this year. September, we were still seeing 100 degrees for the heat index. That being said, what tips would you give people to make sure that their crops don't die in this extreme heat that we're experiencing?
Yes, we are. We definitely would recommend not to put your leafy greens in just yet. Don't get your mustard greens in, your broccolis, your cauliflowers. I would say just hold off maybe one more week. Until we get into our cooler temperatures. We are seeing that quite a bit of our cold weather crops have burned a bit in this hot weather.
So what else happened in September?
We went to Omaha. So Steve and I went to Omaha. And we were awarded a grant by the USDA, Farm to School grants. And we had the wonderful opportunity of connecting with other organizations across the nation. And we got wonderful training and also got resources available to us that are available to actually a lot of schools. And so it was a great training. It was a great just program. And I know you have lots to say about it too.
Yeah, so, I never thought I would go to Omaha in my entire life. But that being said, Farm to School brought us there. So we just have to give a big thanks to the United States Department of Agriculture, the USDA, for awarding us a close to $50,000 grant to take our curriculum from presentations and lesson plans into a video content. And, as Gardopia continues to scale, while we would love to be in 1 million schools, the reality of that is impossible. So, once we continue to grow our capacity, part of that is having educational videos that teachers can plug and play. All they got to do is press play from our YouTube channel, or actually most likely from a learning management system that'll be on our website, and they'll be able to have Sherry pop into the room for 2 to 3 minutes, give a quick lesson, and then from there they can go out into the garden. So stay tuned. We have a curriculum leadership team with over 7 school districts here in the San Antonio region that are going to be working with us to create that. So we got back from Omaha, and very shortly we turned around and we had our Metro Health Equity Network pop-up market for the fall equinox. And so what does that mean? Well, we shut down the street. We brought fresh produce from River City Produce. We had a ton of vendors. We had music DJ with DJ Givenchy. We gave out good food from Mama Loves, and just building community out here in our beautiful garden. So again, we got to give a shout out to Metro Health for supporting those efforts. If you have not checked out that podcast, go to Gardopia Gardens podcast on Apple as well as Spotify. Growing Our Future is the title of the podcast, and you'll see our recent episode. It's also on YouTube as well, so if you want to see the video version of that. Now, what's in that bag? What's in that bag? What's in that bag? Okay, y'all. So y'all know we do what's in that bag. And so what's in this bag right here is very interesting. Normally, we're highlighting a product from one of our sponsors and donors, right? We've done Grow Oya, we've done Power Planter, and we've also done, what was it called? Lifespace Gardens. Yes, Lifespace Gardens with the sips that they have. So this right here is not a sponsor. We don't have a paper sponsor, but maybe one day we will. This right here is a bag of shredded paper. Why do I have a bag of shredded paper, Sherry? What do I do with this?
I think you're going to compost this paper.
I can compost paper. Why would I compost paper? What is it? What does it do?
So you want to use paper in compost to help prevent smells in your compost, and also your earthworms love to eat this paper. they like to eat browns, which is a carbon source, like I said. And other carbon sources are leaves, they make grass clippings, cardboard. So we want to try to reuse or use these products, especially if we can make beautiful compost out of them.
Heck yeah. So I had this lady call me and she's like, hey, do y'all take shredded paper? And I was like, sure, go ahead. So she came and dropped off like 10 bags of shredded paper. But again, a lot of times we'll have like high nitrogen. So you need to balance that off, right? And people use different ratios, but essentially we need to have a good mix. And what I like to do when I put my nitrogen down, cover it with a carbon, and that helps prevent the flies. If you have an open nitrogen source, you're just gonna have a flyville, right? It's just gonna be crazy. But if you cover it, then it makes it more difficult for them to sense it, and it can reduce the amount of larvae that are growing. Not 100%, but it helps reduce it a little bit. So next time you have a whole bunch of papers, go ahead and buy you a paper shredder. You can get a paper shredder for relatively cheap, and you'll be able to create your own carbon source, and you'll also be able to reduce the amount of waste going into the landfill. Nice little tip. Okay, so now moving into October, y'all. We're moving into October, Sherry, and one day it's gonna get cooler. I believe it. But what's going on in October at Gardopia?
So y'all should come join us at the Pearl Farmers Market. We're there every Saturday, second Saturday of each month, and we usually do a lot of garden education. We have all these recommended books that we display. We bring animals, and we also like to do a kids activity.
Okay, and I believe that's going to be October 12th.
Yes.
It's going to be the second Saturday from 9 to 1. Come check us out, support our mission. In addition to that, we also will be partnering with San Antonio for Growth on the East Side, aka SAGE, to do Hallow East. So pre-COVID, SAGE used to shut down the street. They would have trunk or treat. They would have vendors. We had a pumpkin patch, and then COVID happened. And so we haven't had it here for a while, but it's coming back. And I believe it's going to be October 27th. It's the last Sunday of October. So mark your calendars. I don't have the exact time, but follow SAGE on Instagram, social media. You can go to their website as well. I'm sure they'd love to connect with you. In addition to that, we also have a tea party. It's a garden tea party. We did this in March or April of this past spring. It went very well. We had 50 people who came. They got to eat fresh, plant-based food from Hash Vegan Eats. Go ahead and support Hash Vegan Eats on the south side. In addition to that, how many times am I going to say in addition to that? Also, we were able to have a class on growing herbs. So I just gave a quick tutorial on how to properly grow herbs and herbs that are good for this region. And then we did some tea testing and some tea blending. So it was truly an immersive evening. Oh yeah, we also had an amazing DJ that allowed us to engage people in sort of a farm-to-table concept here at Gardopia, using local businesses and also promoting and educating on how you can grow edible plants. So that is going to be Sunday, October 13th from 5 to 7 p.m. So come on out. You do need to register. It's on Eventbrite, gardopia.eventbrite.com, where all of our events can be located, or on our main homepage, gardopiagardens.org. Go all the way to the bottom of the website and you'll see our calendar. Now it only displays the upcoming 3 events, so it may not be displayed all the time, so Eventbrite is the best option for you. All right, Sherry, tips. This is why I'm really here. What gardening tips do you have for me in October?
So I highly recommend that you get your fall garden planted, and we have a lot of things we can plant successfully here in San Antonio, since we're in zone 9 either A or actually we're all zone 9. Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, it's there.
And so I would say recommended to grow right now is broccoli, cabbage, kale, your leafy greens, your spinach. And remember that whenever you're planting, especially cabbage, any of your mustard greens, cabbage or broccoli or kale, right? They are heavy eaters, and don't forget to fertilize. Don't forget to use your organic fertilizers, your fish emulsions, or your chicken manure fertilizers. Those all do great and make your plants grow healthier and happier this fall.
You know, it's a little weird, right? So normally you'd be planting like your tomatoes and your peppers and your eggplants in August. I'm a little hesitant to plant them in August because it's just so darn hot still. So usually I'll wait until our temps, at least our night temperatures, which our night temperatures are dropping this morning. It was about 70-ish degrees, I want to say. And so, it's a little bit of a gamble. You could still plant some warm weather crops because October and November can still be in the 90s and the 80s. But again, it's a little bit of a gamble because we could get a frost relatively fast. But it's also a little hot to be planting our cold weather crops. So we're in this weird spot right now where it's too hot to plant cold weather crops, but we may be losing sunlight and heat for our warm weather crops. All that being said, gamble and plant as much as you can. Another good thing to plant right now in your fall garden are your perennials. So your asparagus, your strawberries, any of your Texas superstars like your marigolds. Well, Texas superstars aren't marigolds, but lantana is a good one. Your esperanzas, fruit trees also are really good to plant. They can actually take this warm weather, and of course, once the temperatures drop, they're going to be extra happy. So start getting ready for those fruit trees. What I would suggest for y'all is also to start your wildflower gardens, okay? So if you plant your wildflower seeds in the fall, they're going to go through a cold spell. They may get eaten by, some different animals and digested, scarified, and then you should have a beautiful pollinator, native flower garden in the spring. But because of the temperature and how things are going right now, and last year we didn't get our first frost until January, you might be able to get a wildflower garden this fall. I planted my wildflowers in early September, right before we got that heavy rain of like 3 to 4 inches. And my wildflowers are popping up. I'm about to have some sunflowers pretty soon. Marigolds, plant marigolds, of course. Those are perennials, but they reseed themselves. Cosmos do really well. And blue bonnets, okay? If you wanted to, with your wildflowers, go ahead and put them in the freezer for maybe a week or so, and then pull them out and plant them. Make sure you put a nice little layer of compost, water them in, and you should start to see little seedlings pop up in the near future. Do you have any tips for wildflowers?
No, that's.
What's your favorite wildflower to plant?
So I actually really like zinnias. I don't know if that's good. That's a really good cut flower, and then cosmos because they just keep coming back every year.
Cosmos loves the heat. That's the one plant that
This can take 120 degrees, it seems like.
Okay. Well, y'all, we appreciate y'all for tuning in to another episode of Chief Talk. Make sure to follow us on social media at Gardopia Gardens. Come and visit us every Saturday from 9 to 11 here at our headquarters on 619 North New Braunfels. So thank you for tuning in to another episode of Chief Talk, y'all. Again, we appreciate all your support and keep on growing. Peace.